This video is going to go over the employee list. The employee list is comprised of 3 tabs. The first tab, Employees Classifications. This will display the employees that you have created. You can delete an employee, you can edit an employee, and you can duplicate an employee. The list is going to display the classification or employee's name. It will display the burden group that has been assigned to the employee, the hourly pay, hourly burden, skill level, and the annual hours that the employee will be available to work. If you would like to see additional data, you can hit the plus symbol in front of the description to expand the data. Annual pay, if you have the employee scheduled to receive a pay rate increase, how much that increase would be. The annual burden cost, how many hours per day that employee will be working, how many days per week, how many months per year. Job site hours, that would be the hours that that employee will actually be on the job working. So that's subtracting vacation time, holidays, etc. And then payroll hours, that's how many hours per year that employee will actually get paid. So in this instance, we're showing 2,080. That's a 52 weeks a year, 40 hours a week. That's paying everything. So when I look at that, I'm seeing that that employee is getting paid for vacation and holidays, etc. Now you can edit this information by clicking the edit button. So every employee is created in what we call the employee wizard. So it's the employee's information. When you're creating a new employee, this is where you'll do it, and you're simply going to click the next button to go to the next step. So this is a wizard that is designed to walk you through all of the steps necessary to create a new employee. But this is also where you will edit data for an existing employee. To edit the data for an existing employee, you simply want to click the next button to get to the data that you wish to edit. So employee name or classification, this is where you would change it. Before I move on to skill level, let me address the default that you see for this employee. Any employee, when you put the default within the brackets at the end of the description, that employee will automatically be added to new projects that you create in TurboBid. And that default applies to all of your different drop downs. So in your miscellaneous direct job expenses, additional labor, etc., if you add default, exactly like it's shown here, those will automatically be selected when you create a new project. Skill level, 100% is the default value. That is what you expect from a journeyman. However, if you do have an employee that is not of that skill level, you would enter in what you think their skill level would be. If you have a trainee and he's maybe half as efficient as a journeyman, then you would enter in 50%. Just keep in mind it's the overall picture of what they will produce in the entire day. So if you have them sweeping, well, they sweep at the level of a journeyman. They can usually do that good, or material handling. So it's the overall picture when you're deciding upon a skill level. But the skill level is designed to add additional labor to each estimate based upon the crew that you have selected for the particular project. So if you have one journeyman and one trainee, that trainee is at 50%. well, that trainee is going to be doing half of the job, but everything that he's doing, it's taking him twice as long to do. So in the estimate, in the bid price tabs, you'll see that there's a section where it's adding the additional hours that the job will take to complete based upon the employee's skill level. Next we have burden and pay rates. Now, burden is going to be determined by the employee's burden group. And you can see in here we have a drop down, and you can select burden groups that we have in here, or you can create your own new burden group. The value displayed, the burden cost, that's calculated based upon the selected burden group and the hourly rate that's entered here. Now you'll notice in the drop-down menu you have Use Custom Burden Cost Value. Use that if you don't necessarily want to use a burden group. So if you know the burden cost that you want to use, select Use Custom Burden Cost, and you can just enter in the value that you wish. You can access the selected burden group by clicking the Open Burden Wizard, and you'll see on the top we have Journeyman. If you were to edit any information in here, it's editing that data for the Journeyman burden group. So any changes that you make would be applied to every employee that has selected the Journeyman group. And we'll get back to the burden groups here momentarily. So continue to hit the next button after you've selected the burden group. Hourly rate. What is the rate per hour that you're paying this employee? We've included a feature in here. Let's say you have a scenario. You're bidding on a job that's going to last for, let's say, 6 months. It's a large job. And you have a pay rate increase scheduled for halfway through the project. What that would mean is that the first half of the project, your employee will be at a certain rate, but then the last half of the project, they'll be at a different rate. Well, you can't use the lower rate for the entire project. You're going to be losing money for that second half of the project. And same scenario, you can't use the higher rate for the first half because your numbers won't be correct. Your cost will be higher than what they actually would be. So we do have a feature in here to where you can select the date of scheduled pay rate increases, the amount, and then within a project in TurboBid, in the project information tab, you are entering the start date of the project, so it knows when it's starting. It knows how many hours the job is going to last. It knows how many man hours per week you have with the selected crew. So the program is going to have the ability to determine how many hours, when that increase is going to take place, how much it is, and basically what it does, it will make an internal adjustment to account for that pay increase, and it's just going to spread it out for the entire project. If you're scheduled to pay this employee an increase in pay, typically that would be something that's very common for union employees. You would select the date, hit next. You would want to enter in the amount of the upcoming increase, hit next. Annual hours. How many hours per day is this employee going to be working? And don't worry about subtracting holidays, vacations, sick days, any of that. This is just overall how many hours per day. how many days per week, and how many months per year. So that is the employee info. That's just the basic information. Now we also included the burden cost associated with each employee. And it will show you the categories, the total cost for the category, and any hours if needed. So paid time off, the cost for that is $2,240, and the paid time off is 112 hours. Now if you click the triangle, it will expand that section so you can see what comprises those categories. So payroll taxes. Here we have insurance, general liability, so on. Paid time off, it will show you that time. Now you can go into the burden group by selecting the burden group link for the employee, or if you just want to check into or revise a particular line item, those are also links. So you can click on the link and it will take you to that section of the burden wizard. You can see burden group journeyman. So this is the burden group for journeyman. Once again, if you make any changes to this, every employee that is selected, the journeyman burden group will reflect those changes. Any editing that you do to an employee, whether you're making edits to the burden group itself or the employee wizard, any changes that you make will automatically be adjusted in this screen for the employee. So if I went in and I added some more sick days to the journeyman burden group, you would automatically see that burden amount be revised in your employee list. Okay, so just to recap, view information, click the plus symbol to create a new employee, edit an employee, delete an employee, duplicate an employee. To edit a burden group, you just simply click on that link. Alrighty, well, thank you for your time, and if you have any questions about any of this, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you however possible. Thank you.